And that takes me to the Merkabah. If you take a close look at this Merkabah, the week of October 14th and the following 7 days. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. This is G. See if I can back this up for you guys. That's it. This is the week. Now, this is a big week. I'm just going to let you know it's a big week right off the top. It's a big week because there's a full moon this week. So we're going to talk about the full moon as far as the degree and the dates. But, and the sign that it's in, of course. But we're not going to go deep on it. At least I'm going to try not to, because I already have another video out for the full moon, specific for this full moon of this week. Okay. So let's just start, as they say, let's start at the very beginning. So at the very beginning of this week, so we're starting off with the sun at 21. You see the sun at 21 in Libra? And look, right? You see Black Moon Lilith at 22 in Libra, and you see Juno at 23. You see Spica there at 24. There's a lot here in Libra energy. It's a huge focus in Libra. So this is cardinal energy. So anytime you've got like this big stellium of transits in the sky, and it is huge because the South Node is also still in Libra, right? It kind of hangs around the 6 degrees for many months, for the entire summer. It was at 7 and 6 degrees. Okay. And here we are, October, and it's solid at 6:36 to be exact. So, it's a point in your chart. If you have your chart, you can look for those degrees, specifically the 6 and 7 degrees of cardinal energy. Cardinal is what? What signs are in cardinal, right? Cardinal energy. Let's start from the beginning. Cancer energy, right? Cancer energy, home, family, the moon, the emotions, the feelings, right? Feminine energy is very strong here. Motherhood, very strong. And then we go to Libra, the other Cancer energy, right? Partnerships, significant one-on-one partnerships, contracts, right? People like that you get married to, right? You're like, okay, this is set up. We're putting this into a contractual agreement. Like, we agree to partner up, and we're going to go to whatever your terms are that you've set. Normally marriage is till death do us part, but people have their own vows nowadays. So who knows what kind of vows people make? What are their commitments that they make to each other? But business is part of this as well. Business partnerships. Okay. This is also legal, and the justice system and fairness and equality, big time with Libra energy and lawyers. Very pronounced. Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. They all are either going to angle each other in a square or being in an opposition. And that's why knowing where the cardinal stuff is in your chart is going to be important, because with a stellium in Libra, right? Partnerships, relationships ending because the South Node's there, has been there. South Node, it is in a sign for 18 months. And it goes backwards. So it's down to the last 6 degrees of Libra energy, which means the North Node in Aries is also at 6 degrees. And that's also at the last leg, right? Literally, this is it, folks. Here we are in October. By January, the nodes are moving together, right? Because that's how they move, spending 18 months in Pisces and Virgo. Let's back up and go to the beginning again. We have a lot of stuff in Libran energy. A lot of stuff about what the hell is fair. Where's the justice anyway? How can we get justice? We're looking for equality, right? What's the law, right? Is this a justice system, or is it simply a system of laws? And are they the same thing? Whoa, right? Yeah, the beliefs and the way I think about things. Jupiter in Gemini, showing us the extreme thoughts and beliefs, the contrarian ways. That's important. knowing Jupiter's in Gemini because Gemini is an air sign, and this too is an air sign. And the degree here is big at the beginning of this week because Jupiter already began its retrograde, right, at the beginning of October. If you haven't seen the video, go watch it. I'll put a link here or there somewhere. But it's at these degrees. Jupiter's retrograde started at 21 degrees in Gemini. Here we are at 21 degrees, 21, 22, and 23. Black moon's going backwards, which means she's conjunct the sun, right? So this is a hot spot, is what this means. It's a very hot spot. We're fired up. And I said beliefs for a reason, and the judicial system and the justices, meaning the judges and the courtrooms and the Supreme Court, your religion, your philosophy on life, and sharing our beliefs as though they are truth, right? Because even a justice, even a judge, whatever his beliefs are, whatever his religious or spiritual beliefs may be, they're not supposed to be part. They're not supposed to be integrated within the law, right? They're supposed to leave all that out, and that's how you're supposed to get equality and fairness. So this 21 degree is the degree of Sagittarius. It is the degree of beliefs, the beliefs about my future and the freedoms of our future, the future of our freedoms. So 21 and 22, 23, a big deal within partnerships. All right. And because it's cardinal, it sends square energy, very strong square energy this week. Okay. Very strong square energy to Capricorn, and to the opposite of Capricorn is Cancer. So really strong. And look, we got freaking Mars in Cancer at 21 degrees. Yeah, this is the beginning of our freaking week. Now, likely this energy would have been felt 2-3 days before that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because that's just the way it works. We got hot weekends where things are talked about and discussed. Our news cycle never ends because of social media, right? Our news cycle never ends. And there's that Jupiter I spoke of at 21 degrees. Yep. There's the Jupiter. So it's really kind of a complicated, I don't want to call it a hot mess, but it kind of feels like it's a hot mess because of the times that we live in, because of the beliefs mixed in with the contrarian attitude, with the duality, with the contradictory, with the extreme polarities of Gemini energy, because Jupiter being there and a whole lot of exaggerations, hyperbole, whatever, a whole lot of stuff going on. And the angles of the square with the cardinals, that's a stress and tension. And that's just the beginning of the week. Okay. Now, to kind of structure it so it's easier to kind of get your mind wrapped around this. The sun right here is at 21, but it's going to move 1 degree a day. Okay. So by the end of the week, when we get to the 20th and the 21st, the sun is then already at a critical degree in Libra. So again, a hot weekend going into Monday because the sun will be at a critical degree. Right. And why do I feel like, does anybody, I already mentioned Capricorn at a critical degree, right? Yeah. Or I'm sorry, I mentioned Capricorn squaring Libra. Well, we know Pluto was sitting over there. Pluto sits at 29. It doesn't move. And by the way, you see Pluto's no longer retrograding, right? Right. Well, it was in that retrograde through all of, right, September, but it was this degree, the 2938, that's a big deal because that's where the retrograde ended. That's where Pluto stopped retrograding and literally sits at this minute, 29 degrees and 38 minutes for, I want to say like 20 days. Like 20 days, right? So that 29 degrees and 38 minutes, when this sun gets there come the weekend, that's stress and tension with people who are in charge and authority figures, and likely people over there on Capitol Hill who are supposed to be learning how to debate and compromise and write laws and get laws passed. Our Congress members, the senators, the people who are supposed to represent us. Yeah. Authority figure and Saturn. I said Saturn, Capricorn, my brain, Saturn rules Capricorn. So this is stress and tension when we get to the end of the week for the sun, for the sun. So equality and justice. And remember this, these are the people who are supposed to know how to meet in the middle. These are the diplomatic individuals who will say, this is what I want. This is, I understand like what you want, but here's my no budge items, right? And then they come back and they go back and forth with a contract and they say, I agree to this, I don't agree to that. And it goes back and forth. And it takes effort, time, and energy, and it's usually not real glamorous. You see the Merkabah in there, right? You see that? You see the Merkabah. And it's with Uranus, it's with Mars, it's with Venus. It's with Venus. Venus is part of this right at the beginning of this week. And so that takes me to the next planet, okay? Venus starts off sitting here at 26. She's not a super fast mover, but she's faster than Mars. So her and Mars kind of already made their trine, right? So when they're pulling away from each other, well, things might get heated up. And Venus will actually get to a critical degree this week. And it's values that I'm willing to fight for because it's in Scorpio. Scorpios are shared values, are shared resources. This does include natural resources. All right. This is insurance. This is taxes. And we're hearing a lot of people, especially the richy rich, right? Talking crap about don't vote blue because do you know why? Do you know why? Regardless of what all the other shit is that you may hear. Because their tax breaks are supposed to expire come 2025. And when I say their tax breaks, they've got these unbelievably great tax breaks for the super wealthy, right? You know the story. They pay less taxes than you. Yeah. They pay less taxes than me. Yeah. And it's insane. And I say me because, well, yeah, I don't really make any money and it's just crazy. So they're paying less taxes than the poorest people. And those tax breaks that allow that are supposed to expire in 2025. Well, they don't want that, of course. So you think about taxes and wealth and shared interests, right? And the fight that people want to wage and why they will tell you everything and anything to vote against your own best interest. To me, this Venus being in this mentality, in this fight mode, and definitely about money and values. And then look, Mercury is here. Mercury is here this week. Mercury was over the weekend. She was at a critical degree in Libra. And now here she is, part of the Scorpio energy. So the two siblings, Mercury and Venus, communicating well, have a clear line of communication open because they're in the same sign right now. And they're talking about shared values. They are talking about the taxes. They're trying to make a plan. They're trying to figure out what do we do? What do we do? Right? And this also goes for people who are warriors, people who've been through battles and who have injuries and wounds, because Scorpio can be healing energy as well. It's not always just about the money or just about the sex, right? Or about the energetic bonds and the emotional bonds. But the past and our past values and our past wounds is prominent here. So feminine energy, Venus brings it. All right. Even little Mercury, supposed to be masculine and feminine energy, but it's been coming in very strongly with feminine energy. And Venus has Mercury's ear. All right. It always does because these two talk all the time. Right. So that the open ear and the open line of communication to me seems good when they're in the same sign. It seems even better. Like there's less confusion involved and there's less distractions and there's not as many people on the line type of thing. Right. So this Venus energy, part of this Merkabah, part of this hexagonal shape you see in this chart, it's Uranus at the opposition of Venus, 26. She's going to go to 27 and 28. So she's opposite of Algo and opposite of Uranus. You see that? They're both at 26 here. Yeah. So remember we talked about algo in last week's video. It's normally known to be malefic. It's not there's not a lot of positive comments or knowledge about it. Algo is about my desires. What I desire, who I desire. And with it being conjunct Uranus, that means here's algo all by itself considered dangerous. Literally, like that's the words written. It can be considered dangerous when the star goes dark. Okay? Like when we don't see the star up in the sky, it goes dark, it's hidden from us, right? So when you combine that kind of energy with shocks and surprises and expect the unexpected Uranus, again, I've spoken in the past about tech and security, about the different digital securities, about cryptocurrencies. And so if Venus is at that opposition, something extreme. And does that mean it has to be negative in terms of, oh my God, I've lost my money? It doesn't have to be that. It means extreme. Okay. It really depends on your chart. And if you don't have your own chart, you should probably get it. Even if you don't understand it, it takes a while. It'll grow on you. Astrology is like osmosis. Just have the chart in your hand, watch the videos, because then you can kind of learn as you go along. It's not an overnight learn. Okay, we're going right back to Venus a little bit here. Venus this week will go, and she will like on the 16th, on the 15th and the 16th. So that's like tomorrow and the next day, folks, right? Because this is Monday, the 14th. So the very next day, she starts to touch on that critical degree energy, right? Now, what I will say is she starts to trine Neptune and a Uranus Pluto midpoint because she starts to get to the 27 and 28 degrees. And that's what we have. We have Uranus and Pluto, and we have Neptune at 27, 28 degrees here. So it's a trine with those. All right. So people in power, shocks and surprises, public figures, people who, these would be heads of state. These could be presidents. These can be, whatever the different names are for people around the country, but the wealthy, extreme wealthy, and people who have power. All right. Public figures. So this could be people who are on the stage and screen, people who have an influence in some way over us or over you, whatever it is, however that is in your world. Okay. So the trine to Venus values, it's a trine, it's Pisces energy, institutional energy, right? Pisces can diminish things. It can diminish Venus's values and her strength, even though it's a trine, because it becomes wonky. It becomes confusing. Remember, Pisces is the dark waters. It's that ocean where those waters deep, 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 it's hard to see under there, right? Think about those icy cold waters. It's difficult to see. It's difficult to function. A lot of people drown in that shit, right? Yeah. So what happens with the money, with the values? It's a short-term thing, but because it's a direct opposition with Uranus and Algo, there might be values definitely changing. And when I say values, it may be money, whether people are donating money, switching sides, however that looks, whether you're donating to a campaign. There's lots of different ways that money is utilized as a tool. So I can just say here that, yeah, banking is part of it too, because that banking and even the public, because the degree of this algo and this Uranus energy, it's got like Taurus vibration to it. So we think of, the digital banking, we think of the crypto, which I kind of already touched on, but the airlines is Uranus. We think of inventions and we think of space. Inventions in space. We think of science when we think of Uranus energy. So the money and the values, and yeah, can the stock market be a part of this? Sure. What about all the, EVs and, just all the different spacecraft and the rockets and just all that good stuff, right? All that inventive energy, but alternative forms of power? Absolutely. So Venus is going to be leaving Scorpio and going into Sagittarius. All right. And I think I have that written down up here. Yeah. So we have Venus entering Sagittarius on the 17th and the 18th. All right. Depending upon where you are in the world. 17th and 18th, we'll have Venus breaking through the extreme degrees of Scorpio, which is, I didn't mention it because it always seems obvious, but I will. Scorpio is war, of course. I mentioned soldiers, people fighting, hearing different rulers across the country, threatening as usual. If so and so does this, well, then I'm going to do this. And yeah, there's a lot of that, I think, always going on, but there's just more of it now. On the 17th, that's actually Thursday, we are having a full moon that I mentioned at the beginning, and it's a full moon in Aries full moon, right? So the Aries full moon on the 17th, this is at 24 degrees in Aries, and it's conjunct Eris. So I've got the moon on top of Eris right there for that reason. Eris is already feminine energy. Eris is female energy, but it's like a sister to Mars. It's angry, it's pissed off because it's never had a voice at the table. It didn't matter. It was as though she was invisible. And she's angry about this shit. And of course, bodily autonomy is huge with Eris in Aries. Now, it's a full moon. And when we have a full moon, it usually represents an ending of a cycle of some sort, a closure. Aries is the freedoms and the freedoms of your body, your appearance of your body as well. Because, well, when somebody looks at me or looks at you, we immediately say, oh, you are this, male or female, or I don't know, right? Or, whatever, right? There's definitely things about the appearance and the body that are also weaved into this. All right. So, Chiron, I'll just leave off with this, or at least talking about the full moon, that Chiron, of course, because it's so close, the wounds of my body, is also part of the full moon that happens on the 17th in Aries. Okay. We're moving along here. And Mercury's going to get to 12 degrees of Scorpio by the end of the week. So by Monday, Mercury's sitting there at 12 degrees. I already mentioned the sun sitting there at 28 by the end of the week. So that's the sun and Pluto up in the sky, a battle going on. But just keep in mind for those of you who have fixed energy in your chart, because with the fixed energy, it's usually where some of those biggest, toughest battles are fought, because fixed energy doesn't want to give up. Whether it's Taurus or Aquarius or Scorpio or Leo, nobody wants to be like, I surrender. Nobody wants to say, okay, we'll do it your way. That doesn't normally happen with fixed energy. So you're paying attention. You're paying attention between 1 and 12 degrees in the fixed signs, all right, for the stress and the tension. That as time goes on, we're also going to have a grand water trine with the Scorpio and Mars and Pisces energy. Right. So as bumpy and as awkward and as irritating and difficult as times seem, there is support here, and there is still earth support. There's still lots of stuff in the earth, and that takes me to the Merkabah. If you take a close look at this Merkabah, it's well, let's just start down here. We'll go to Earth. We'll go to Virgo, Vesta. We got Vesta in Virgo, health routines, day-to-day routines, jobs, details, perfection, right? That's all Virgo, the minutia. I can gather it all and I can see the big picture. That's why I want all the details, because I want to see the big picture. It's pretty busy with the mind, right? It says, here's the lists, here's the tasks, here are the projects that are going to set us up for success. So 24 degrees and Vesta's going direct. She's not super fast, right? But she is moving direct. So she's part of this Merkabah, because then there's Venus there, right? So we know that when Venus moves on, that Merkabah kind of starts to dissipate. But remember, Mercury's going to then take the place of this. Mercury's going to get up here and be part of this Merkabah again that's present. And what else is at the other end? Pluto. Pluto's not moving. Pluto's slow. So it's going to stay here and still be part of this Merkabah. Earth energy. We're creating something for long-term success, but we got to go through some major changes first. We're showing you all the nasty, all the yuck, all the rot, all the undesirable of people who are in charge, who've been in charge. We're showing you who to get rid of. And so you're seeing, you're seeing the undesirable of people who have the power, and you're getting an opportunity. It's like, when you clear through the clouds, or you pull back the layer, you pull back the curtain, you pull back the veil, and you get to see the aha. This is what Pluto's been doing for us. It's been showing us who and what to get rid of, because it's about change and a death to old ways. And it's corporations and people in government that have abused their power. Got it? Because this is to be used in a very altruistic way. Altruistic means it's good for you and it's good for me, not just the 1% of the 1%. You follow? That's how that's supposed to be used, and that's what Pluto's here to do. Now, we move on to the other part of the Merkabah, and of course, we got Neptune, and it's conjunct. You heard me speak about it. It's conjunct this midpoint. So together with these two retrograding together, yes, it's a strong enough sextile to be part of this. Again, people in government, public figures, politicians, right? So it's global. It's also judges, by the way, because remember, Jupiter rules Pisces. So that's part of this Merkabah as well. The change and the transformation and a new way forward. Uranus, different and new. Okay. Then we back that up a little bit and we have Algo and Uranus on this side. Right. Together, they're powerful, and they are definitely part of this because of the retrograde power. They're part of this. And then, of course, Mars. Mars is going to go up in numbers. So by the end of this week, by Sunday, by Monday, we got Mars sitting here in the sign of Cancer. And I want to say it's going to be at 24 degrees. Yep, 24:45 is where Mars will be in the sign of Cancer by Monday. Okay? So that would be by the 21st. So that, in other words, even though Mercury by the 21st, Mercury's only at 12, okay? So there's going to be a little bit of a lax, which is why I think the full moon can be a really big deal that we're having, this full moon in Aries. That's why, because the kind of the Merkabah energy, it dissipates because Venus moves on. So Venus moving into Saggy, how will it change it, right? Because that's kind of the thing. When the full moon occurs, now you have Venus who's at 4 degrees in Sagittarius. What about number 4? 4 degrees, right? I'm not going to give any more answers. You tell me. I want you. Tell me with the number 4, the fourth house, Cancer energy, moon energy, a full moon event. Give me some keywords for this number 4. And then give me some keywords also for Sagittarius. And then if you want to be real brave, and if you're feeling super courageous or you know your thing, also give me some keywords for Venus and weave. Maybe if you can do it. I mean, I know you can. I know it takes practice, but I would love to see some of you guys start to weave in some of these keywords all together. Let's talk some logic, whether I have a Quran sitting on my desk or a Holy Bible or whatever sacred text I choose. That's my business. So Venus will be conjunct Pallas Athena. We'll start there next week. But in the meantime, the Merkabah energy means that there is an opportunity for something quite powerful to occur. That is literally what that Merkabah energy gives us, because it creates this sextile all the way around the chart. It's multiple mystic rectangles all the way around the chart. It's also the Solomon star. That's what I call it. Even though I didn't draw that in here, I could draw it in. I don't want to trigger people though. And that doesn't mean that it has to be 100% negative, but I don't want people to, anyway. This is the way we're leaving it. We're going to stick with basic geometry because we don't want to, get things too all crazy. There's enough craziness online as it is. So because there's a sextile, this these 60 degrees away, you see, the 60 degrees away, it's all the way around the chart. And so there's a great opportunity for something big to occur. Mhm. Now, hopefully, I'm praying, okay, let it be something huge. Let it be the end of war. Let it be that. Am I saying that that's absolutely what it's going to be? No, because every time I feel like the chart shows promise for that, it's like something happens. It doesn't, but I do feel because we're on a strong election cycle, because, just the way the politics is, and because it's an election year for the United States, that we'll see. We'll see. But there is a lot of power here. So it's Virgo energy, it's Scorpio energy, it's Capricorn energy, it's Pisces energy, it's Taurus energy, and it's Cancer energy. There's a lot of power here. There is a lot of feminine power here, I will say. So what that means is there's a lot being triggered with the past. And then that doesn't even include all of this stuff, which definitely is what the full moon video deep dives on, because this is all part of the full moon. So go watch that. I'll link it below and you can take a look and see what you think and let me know your comments. But that's it. This is a wrap. Those are your 7 days for October 14th to October 21st. You got any questions, comment below. Remember, I always appreciate your time. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.